You remember the story, even if you were never taught it this way. A young figure stands in a place of isolation, far from applause, far from recognition. The days have been long, the work has been hidden. Nothing about the season feels glamorous. Others passed by him without noticing. Authority overlooked him. Even family underestimated him. Yet somewhere in the unseen, heaven was watching closely. Not because of what he was doing, but because of who he was becoming. He was not summoned when strength was obvious. He was not chosen when victory was visible. He was called while still unknown, still tending what others thought was insignificant. Oil had not yet touched his head, but pressure had already touched his soul. That is how God often moves. He marks you long before he announces you. This is where you are right now. You are in a season where it feels like life has slowed down while everyone else accelerates. You are working, waiting, believing, but not yet being celebrated. And part of you has wondered if you missed your moment, if you misunderstood God, if the silence means delay or denial. Listen carefully. This is not absence. This is concealment. This is not rejection. This is preparation. That hidden biblical moment was never about sheep, fields, or oil. It was about alignment. Heaven was aligning timing, authority, and obedience. The calling did not begin when the prophet arrived. It began years earlier, when integrity was chosen without witnesses. That is why the pressure you feel now is so specific. It is targeting your patience, your faith, your identity. Because something big is happening, and it has your name on it. You are not imagining the shift. Something is stirring beneath the surface of your life. Conversations feel heavier. Decisions feel more serious. Distractions that once worked no longer satisfy. That is because God is narrowing your focus. When destiny approaches, options decrease. The path becomes more defined. Comfort becomes less available. This is not punishment. This is precision. You have been asking God for clarity, but what he has been giving you is endurance. You have been asking for doors, but he has been building capacity. If the door opened too early, it would crush you. So instead, he has been strengthening you in secret. The weight you feel is not meant to break you. It is meant to measure you. There is a reason the enemy has been whispering. Nothing is happening. Darkness always speaks loudest right before God moves. Because if you truly understood how close you are, you would stop doubting and start standing. You would stop shrinking and start agreeing with heaven. That is why this message found you now. Not later, not earlier. Now, you are not like the rest. You never blended in, even when you tried. Your spirit has always been too sensitive to truth, too aware of injustice, too uncomfortable with surface-level living. That discomfort was not a flaw, it was a signal. You were designed to carry something weighty, something holy, something that cannot coexist with compromise. This season has been testing one thing above all else. Will you obey without applause? Will you remain faithful without affirmation? Will you trust God when the promise feels delayed but the pressure feels immediate? Because what comes next requires a yes that is not based on emotion, but on conviction. This is not coincidence, this is divine intervention. You may feel like you are standing still, but in the spirit you are being positioned. Heaven is not rushing you because heaven is exact. When God moves, he does not improvise, he fulfills. And fulfillment requires readiness, not speed. There was a moment in that ancient story when oil finally flowed. But notice this, the anointing did not remove the battle. It announced it. Calling attracts resistance. Favor provokes opposition. If you have been facing unusual resistance, internal or external, it is not because you are failing. It is because something on your life has been noticed. You are being summoned, just like that hidden figure long ago, not to a throne yet, but to alignment, not to applause yet, but to obedience. The crown comes later. The yes is required now. And heaven has already spoken about seasons like yours, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. That verse is not poetic encouragement. It is a legal declaration in the Spirit. Appointed time means fixed by God, not flexible by man. It may feel slow, but it is not late. It may feel quiet, but it is not empty. What God has spoken over you is moving toward you even now. So do not sabotage this moment by impatience. Do not abandon this season because it lacks validation. You are closer than you think. The oil is nearer than it feels. And the name heaven has been whispering is yours. If this resonates, stand in agreement. Like the video, share it with someone who is also in a hidden season. Subscribe to stay connected, and at the end of this section, as a prophetic act of alignment, comment the number 77 to declare that you trust God's timing. What you are experiencing right now must be named correctly, or it will be misunderstood. This is not collapse, this is compression. There is a spiritual law that governs transformation before anything expands. It must first endure pressure. Seeds break before they grow. Grapes are crushed before they become wine. Gold is heated before it becomes pure. In the same way, your life has entered a season where pressure is not the enemy, it is the signal. The first instruction for you is this: stop interpreting deep pressure as failure. Pressure is not proof that you are off course. Often, it is confirmation that you are exactly where you should be. When God prepares someone for change, He does not announce it with comfort. He announces it with intensity. Suddenly, ordinary tasks feel heavy. Familiar environments feel restrictive. Old coping mechanisms stop working. You find yourself restless, even when nothing is wrong. That restlessness is not ingratitude, it is awareness. Something within you knows that the old structure can no longer contain what God is forming. The practical step here is acceptance, not passive resignation, but conscious agreement. You accept that this pressure has purpose. You stop fighting it as if it were a mistake. You stop asking, "How do I escape this?" and begin asking, "What is this producing in me?" Pressure reveals what is weak, but it also strengthens what is true. Under pressure, masks crack. Distractions lose their power. You begin to see clearly who you are without applause, without reassurance, without control. This is where alignment happens, not when life is easy, but when it is demanding. You must also understand this pressure often arrives before clarity. God rarely explains everything at once. If He did, you would rely on information instead of faith. So instead, He allows weight without full context. That weight teaches you how to stand without answers. It trains your spirit to remain steady when logic runs out. Here is a practice for this season: stop narrating your life through panic. Panic shortens vision. Panic makes pressure feel personal, as if God is against you. Instead, narrate through discernment. Say quietly within yourself, "This is training. This is shaping. This is not random." Another instruction is to resist the urge to numb yourself. Deep pressure tempts you toward escape, overworking, overstimulation, unhealthy habits, constant noise. But numbing delays transformation. What you avoid feeling, you delay healing. What you refuse to face, you force to repeat. Sit with the discomfort long enough for it to teach you. Ask it what it is exposing. Ask it what it is demanding you release. Often, pressure is not about adding something new, but about removing something old expectations, old identities, old dependencies that cannot survive the next level. You may notice that people who once understood you no longer do. Conversations feel misaligned. Relationships feel strained without obvious conflict. This is another effect of pressure. It reveals compatibility. Not everyone who walked with you can walk into what you are becoming. This is not bitterness. This is boundaries forming naturally. Do not rush to fix what feels distant. Some distance is necessary. God sometimes creates space not because of rejection, but because of protection. Pressure clarifies who and what belongs in your next season. There is also a mental discipline required here. Pressure magnifies thoughts. If you allow fear to dominate your inner dialogue, pressure will feel unbearable. If you allow truth to lead, pressure becomes manageable. You choose what voice you amplify. When the thought comes, "I can't do this anymore," counter it with, "I am being strengthened." When the thought comes, "This is too much," replace it with, "This is making room. This is not denial. This is alignment with reality at a higher level." Another instruction: remain consistent in small obedience. Pressure tempts you to make dramatic moves, to force change, to rush outcomes. But most breakthroughs are unlocked through unglamorous consistency. Show up. Pray when it feels dry. Do what is right when it feels unrewarded. Pressure tests faithfulness more than faith. Understand this clearly: pressure before change is not God pushing you away. It is God drawing something out of you. He is revealing endurance you did not know you had. He is teaching you how to carry weight without dropping purpose. There is an ancient spiritual truth that still speaks directly into seasons like this one. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 5, verse 3. We glory in tribulations, also knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Tribulation is not celebrated because it is pleasant. It is honored because of what it produces. Patience here is not passive waiting. It is fortified endurance, the ability to remain intact under pressure. That is what is being formed in you. So the instruction is simple, but not easy. Stay present. Stay faithful. Stay honest. Do not abandon yourself in this season. Do not betray your process by comparing it to someone else's timeline. What God is building in you requires this depth. The pressure will not last forever, but the strength it produces will. When the shift comes, and it will, you will look back and realize that this was the moment you were quietly prepared to handle what once would have overwhelmed you. You are not breaking, you are becoming. There is a layer of your journey that few people ever acknowledge. Yet it explains almost everything you have endured. Your struggle has not only been internal, it has been strategic. What you are facing is not random resistance, it is targeted opposition. And the reason is simple: something about your obedience threatens systems you cannot see. Long before you became aware of your calling, something else became aware of you. This is how invisible war works. When a person carries potential that can shift atmospheres, delay is not enough, distraction is not enough, comfort is not enough. So pressure escalates, confusion increases, temptation sharpens. Not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to darkness. You have wondered why the attacks felt so personal, why certain cycles repeated with precision. Why, just as you gained clarity, something tried to knock you off balance. This is not paranoia. This is discernment awakening. There is contention around your name because your name is attached to an assignment. Spiritual resistance rarely announces itself loudly. It works subtly. It whispers doubt instead of shouting fear. It nudges you toward isolation instead of outright rebellion. It convinces you to delay obedience just a little longer. Because delay, when repeated, becomes disobedience wearing a reasonable mask. And here is the key truth you must grasp. The war intensifies when you are close to alignment, not when you are lost, when you are focused. That is why the battle has been mostly internal. If the enemy can fracture your confidence, he does not need to stop your progress. You will stop yourself. Stop. But notice this: despite everything, you are still here, still seeking, still listening, still resisting the urge to give up completely. That alone tells you something important. The opposition failed to take you out. You bent, but you did not break. You questioned, but you did not abandon God. That endurance is not accidental. You are learning to see beyond surface events. You are starting to recognize patterns. Certain arguments repeat. Certain distractions appear right before moments of clarity. Certain people surface right when you decide to change. This is not coincidence. This is timing being contested. The practical instruction for you in this section is awareness without obsession. You are not called to fear the battle. You are called to recognize it so you do not mislabel it. Not every hard moment is spiritual warfare, but every moment of warfare tries to look ordinary. You do not respond to this war with panic. You respond with alignment. Darkness loses power when it is exposed but not entertained. When you stop reacting emotionally and start responding spiritually, resistance weakens. Another instruction: guard your inner dialogue. Most battles are won or lost in thought before action. If the enemy can shape how you interpret events, he can shape your decisions. That is why you must slow down your reactions. Ask yourself, is this pulling me toward obedience or away from it? That single question dismantles many traps. You are not fighting to prove yourself. You are standing to protect what God is forming. There is a difference. When you fight to prove, you exhaust yourself. When you stand to protect, you become steady. Understand this also: being targeted does not mean you are special in pride. It means you are specific in purpose. Heaven assigns weight to certain lives because those lives can carry influence without corruption. That is rare. And rarity attracts resistance. This is why rest has been hard. Why your mind stays alert even when your body is tired. Why silence sometimes feels louder than noise. Your spirit has been on watch, but now comes balance. You are not meant to live in constant vigilance. You are meant to live in authority. Authority does not strive. Authority knows when to speak and when to remain still. Authority understands that not every battle requires confrontation. Some battles are won simply by refusing to disengage from God. The ancient words recorded in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. This verse is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to focus you. Your real battle has never been people, circumstances, or setbacks. It has been about position. Who occupies your attention? Who shapes your obedience? Who defines your identity? When you stop blaming yourself for every struggle and start discerning the nature of the resistance, shame loses its grip. You realize you were not failing, you were contending. And here is where response matters. Do not declare victory loudly yet. Do not rush to celebrate prematurely. Instead, anchor yourself inwardly. Choose alignment again. Choose obedience again. Choose stillness again. Every time you choose alignment, you weaken opposition without making noise. At this moment, I want you to make a simple declaration, not for the algorithm, not for others, but as an act of clarity for yourself. Comment a short phrase, under 4 words. I stay aligned. Now understand why this matters. You are not commenting to convince God. You are not commenting to impress anyone. You are externalizing an internal decision. Words spoken, even typed, create alignment between intention and action. This phrase declares that no matter the resistance, no matter the pressure, no matter the delay, you will not drift. Alignment is how wars are won quietly, and you are learning how to stand. There comes a moment in every calling when heaven grows quiet, not because God has withdrawn, but because a decision is being observed. This is the threshold moment. Nothing dramatic may appear on the surface, yet everything is poised beneath it. You feel it as a pause that is heavier than motion, a stillness charged with consequence. This is where many turn back, not out of rebellion, but out of uncertainty. But you are still here, and that matters. A threshold is not a door you force open. It is a line you choose to cross. You have already sensed that your next step carries weight. Ordinary choices no longer feel ordinary. Words feel costly. Commitments feel permanent. You are aware deep down that something in your life cannot remain undecided much longer. This is not anxiety. This is awareness sharpening. Heaven is not rushing you, but heaven is watching. What you decide in quiet moments often determines what manifests in public ones. This is where obedience becomes less about rules and more about trust. God is not asking you to perform. He is asking you to agree. Agree that His timing is wiser than your urgency. Agree that His perspective is higher than your understanding. Agree that surrender here prevents regret later. Many people miss their threshold because they wait for certainty. But certainty rarely comes before obedience. It comes after. The clarity you are looking for is on the other side of the step you are hesitating to take. That is why this moment feels stretched. Heaven is giving you room to choose freely, not under pressure, not under fear, but under conviction. Notice how distractions have intensified lately. Small things suddenly demand your attention. Old habits resurface. Familiar voices question your resolve. This is not accidental. Thresholds attract interference. Anything that can delay a decision will attempt to do so. But delay is not neutral. Delay is a decision to remain where you are. And you already know you cannot stay here. There is also grief hidden in this moment. Grief for versions of yourself that cannot come with you. Grief for relationships that only existed in a smaller season. Grief for comfort that once felt safe. A threshold always involves loss. But what you lose here is not taken from you, it is released by you. You are not being stripped. You are being unburdened. God does not rush thresholds because they shape maturity. If He carried you across without your consent, you would doubt whether you belonged on the other side. But when you step willingly, even trembling, you arrive with ownership. You arrive knowing you said yes when you could have said no. This is also where faith becomes visible, even if no one is watching. Faith is not proven by how loudly you declare it, but by how faithfully you move when there is no applause. Heaven honors private obedience more than public confidence. You may be tempted to ask for one more sign, one more confirmation, one more reassurance. But often the fact that you are asking is the sign. God has already spoken. What you are sensing now is not confusion, it is reverence. You understand that this step matters. There is a sacred fear here, not terror, but awe. The awareness that choices shape futures, that obedience unlocks trajectories, that hesitation can prolong wilderness. And God has spoken about moments like this before, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. This is not a warning meant to condemn, it is an invitation to choose deliberately. Narrow paths are not narrow because God withholds goodness, but because focus requires exclusion. You cannot carry everything forward. You cannot please everyone and obey God fully. Something must be left behind for alignment to remain intact. You are not being asked to leap blindly. You are being asked to trust deeply. The step may feel small, an internal decision, a private commitment, a quiet refusal to compromise, but its impact is large. Thresholds are crossed internally before they are seen externally. If this message has helped you recognize where you stand, take a moment to support this work in a simple, sincere way. Like the video if it resonates. Share it with someone who may also be standing at a quiet crossroads, and subscribe to stay connected as these messages continue. Not as a transaction, but as a shared journey of clarity and growth. Now return your attention inward. You do not need to rush. You do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to convince anyone. Heaven already understands the weight of this moment. What matters is that you do not abandon it. Stand here long enough to decide, then step. Because once you cross a true threshold, you do not go back the same. Before elevation, there is almost always separation. Not because God is cruel, but because weight requires space. What you are being prepared to carry cannot be balanced on the same foundations that supported your previous season. That is why certain things have been quietly falling away. Not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily. You may have noticed it first in your emotions. What once excited you now feels hollow. What once felt urgent now feels optional. You are less interested in proving yourself and more concerned with preserving your peace. This is not apathy. This is discernment maturing. Separation rarely looks holy at first. It often looks like loneliness. It feels like being misunderstood. It feels like standing in a room full of people and realizing you no longer speak the same inner language. And the instinctive response is to blame yourself, to wonder if you are becoming distant, cold, or disconnected. But the truth is simpler and deeper. Your capacity is changing. God does not elevate people who still need constant validation. He does not entrust weight to those who cannot stand alone. So before he lifts you publicly, he strengthens you privately by removing props you leaned on without realizing it. Some relationships are seasonal. Some environments are transitional. Some versions of yourself were only meant to survive, not to lead. Separation is how God honors your future without dishonoring your past. This is where many people resist the process. They try to drag old connections into new callings. They try to keep comfort while stepping into responsibility. But divided focus weakens authority. You cannot move forward while negotiating with what God is asking you to release. Another layer of separation is internal. Old narratives are being dismantled. The story you used to tell yourself about your limits, your identity, your place is no longer holding up. God is rewriting how you see yourself, and that can feel disorienting. You may feel stripped of certainty before you feel clothed in confidence. This is intentional. If God elevated you before this separation, You would attribute success to old strengths instead of new obedience. So he allows the familiar to fade. So the foundation of the next season is unmistakably him. You are learning how to be alone without being lonely, how to be quiet without being empty, how to stand without leaning. These are not minor skills. They are prerequisites for leadership, influence, and spiritual authority. Do not rush to replace what has been removed. Empty space is not a problem, it is preparation. God fills what he empties, but only after the vessel is clean and available. You may feel like you are losing more than you are gaining right now, but that perception is temporary. Separation always feels like loss until perspective catches up with purpose. Later, you will recognize that what left could not have survived where you are going. There is also a refinement happening in your motives. You are becoming more honest about why you do what you do. Less driven by image, less controlled by comparison, less willing to compromise truth for acceptance. This narrowing is not limitation, it is focus. God often separates by silence. He stops speaking through certain people. He stops affirming certain paths. He allows confusion to arise where clarity once lived, not to punish you, but to redirect you inward back to him. And when separation is complete, elevation does not arrive as noise. It arrives as stability. You will notice that you are no longer easily shaken. Criticism does not derail you. Praise does not intoxicate you. You become steady. That steadiness is the true sign that separation has done its work. Scripture has always revealed this pattern. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. Refinement is not destruction. Fire does not erase gold, it reveals it. What you are enduring is not meant to consume you, but to clarify you. God is not testing your worth. He is proving your readiness. Now, here is the moment to respond not with words, but with alignment. At the end of this section, I want you to comment a number as a prophetic act, not as superstition, but as intention. Numbers in Scripture often marked completion, transition, and divine order. Today, comment the number 888. Why this number matters: it symbolizes new beginning after separation. It declares that what was removed will be replaced with something aligned. It is a quiet agreement that you accept God's pruning without resentment, trusting that fruit will follow. You are not being reduced. You are being prepared. What feels like distance is actually distinction, and distinction always comes before elevation. There is a story written into Scripture that mirrors the inner conflict you have lived through, not as theory, but as experience. It is the story of a man who loved deeply, spoke boldly, failed publicly, and yet was entrusted with extraordinary responsibility. His journey reveals something essential about how God restores power to the faithful. He began as impulsive, outspoken, certain of his devotion. He was the kind of person who promised loyalty with confidence, who believed sincerity alone would carry him through any test. When danger was distant, his faith sounded unbreakable. When pressure arrived suddenly, his resolve fractured. You know this place. The night came when fear moved faster than conviction. Surrounded by uncertainty, threatened by association, he chose safety over allegiance, not once, but repeatedly. Each denial cut deeper than the last, not because it surprised God, but because it revealed the gap between intention and endurance. And when the moment passed, silence followed. Not dramatic judgment, not immediate restoration, just the weight of knowing what he had done. The shame did not come from being corrected, it came from recognizing himself. He saw clearly who he was under pressure, and that realization was heavier than punishment. This is where many people believe their story ends. Failure feels final when you measure destiny by performance. But God measures differently. God measures by response. After the collapse came waiting. After the denial came distance. He returned to familiarity, to old habits, to what he knew before calling interrupted his life. This was not rebellion, it was retreat. And retreat often looks like humility on the surface while fear works quietly underneath. But God did not revoke the calling. Instead, restoration came without spectacle, a conversation, a question repeated, not accusations but invitations. Each question was not about competence, but about love. Because love, when refined, becomes obedience that survives pressure. What changed him was not forgiveness alone, it was understanding. He understood now that confidence without surrender is fragile. He understood that strength without dependence collapses under threat. And most importantly, he understood that God does not entrust leadership to the untested, but to the restored. This is where power returned. Not the loud power of bravado, but the steady authority of someone who knows his weakness and stands anyway. Someone who no longer speaks quickly, but speaks with weight. Someone who no longer promises everything, but obeys consistently. You are walking through a similar transformation. Your past moments of hesitation, silence, or retreat have not disqualified you. They have instructed you. You are learning where your strength ends and where God's begins. That knowledge does not weaken you, it grounds you. The man who once denied became the one who stood when it mattered most. Not because fear vanished, but because obedience matured. He no longer followed emotion, he followed conviction. That is the difference between enthusiasm and authority. Authority is not loud, it is immovable. When the time came, he did not speak to defend himself. He spoke to establish truth. He did not gather attention. He gathered alignment. His words carried weight because they came from someone who had failed honestly and been restored intentionally. This is the kind of power God returns to the faithful, not power that depends on perfection, but power that flows from surrender. You do not lead because you are flawless. You lead because you are anchored. There is a reason God allowed the fall before the commission. Without the fall, pride would have survived. Without the restoration, shame would have ruled. But with both humility and authority met, you are learning the same lesson. God is not asking you to erase your past. He is redeeming it. The places where you stumbled are becoming points of compassion, discernment, and strength. You will recognize weakness in others not to judge it, but to guide it. This is why your obedience now feels quieter but deeper. You are no longer performing faith, you are living it. You are less concerned with being seen as strong and more committed to being true. Scripture records this transformation with clarity and restraint, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 21, verse 17. Feed my sheep. Those words were not given to someone untested. They were given to someone restored. Leadership in God's kingdom is not about avoiding failure. It is about responding to it rightly. You are being entrusted, not because you never wavered, but because you returned. You did not let shame define the end of your story. You allowed grace to complete it. The same God who restored him is shaping you now. Power is returning not suddenly, not dramatically, but steadily. And this time, it will remain. You have reached a moment that few ever arrive at consciously. Not the end of the journey, but the moment where identity settles, where striving quiets, where you no longer ask, "Am I chosen?" because your life has already answered the question through endurance. This is not the beginning of ambition. This is the beginning of authority. Everything you have walked through, pressure, separation, resistance, restoration, has been weaving toward this point. You were not merely surviving chapters. You were being crowned internally long before anything changed externally. God crowns character before he crowns position. That is why this season feels different. You are not chasing what comes next. You are ready for it. Being crowned does not mean applause arrives. It means responsibility does. It means your decisions now carry weight beyond yourself. It means your obedience creates shelter for others. You are no longer just being shaped, you are being trusted. This is where many misunderstand God's favor. Favor does not always elevate you above people. Often it places you beneath them in service. The crown in God's kingdom is not for display. It is for burden bearing. And you are discovering that you can carry more than you once believed, not because you are stronger, but because you are surrendered. You no longer need constant reassurance. Silence no longer terrifies you. Delay no longer offends you. You have learned how God moves. Slowly, precisely, faithfully. And because you have learned his pace, you no longer rush his process. This is what maturity feels like. There is also a quiet confidence forming in you. Not arrogance, not self-reliance, but the confidence of someone who knows that obedience is enough. You no longer need to explain yourself to everyone. You no longer need to defend every decision. When you know who sent you, you do not panic when misunderstood. You have become steady. This steadiness is what qualifies you for influence. Influence is not about visibility, it is about impact. People will begin to sense safety around you. Truth will feel clearer in your presence. Your words will carry calm, not chaos. That is the mark of someone crowned by God. And understand this clearly: the crown does not protect you from hardship. It equips you to walk through it without losing yourself. Storms will still come. Resistance will still exist. But now, you are anchored. You know where your strength comes from. There is also a release happening. You are being freed from the need to relive old seasons. The pain that once defined you is becoming a reference point, not a residence. You can remember without returning. You can testify without bleeding. That is healing completed. God never wastes suffering. Every tear you cried in private watered something eternal. Every prayer you whispered in exhaustion sharpened discernment. Every moment you stayed when you could have quit built authority that cannot be fabricated. Now you are stepping into a role that requires presence more than performance. People will watch how you respond under pressure. They will listen to how you speak when it costs you. They will follow how you forgive, how you wait, how you choose truth over convenience. Leadership will not be announced, it will be recognized. This is why the temptation to shrink must be resisted. Sometimes, just as God completes a work, the urge to downplay it appears. You may feel undeserving. You may feel hesitant to stand fully in what God has given. But humility does not mean hiding. It means acknowledging the source while accepting the assignment. Do not reject the crown God has placed simply because it feels heavy. Weight is confirmation. And Scripture has always spoken about those who endure until completion, according to what is revealed in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. That crown is not metaphor alone. It is the authority to live unshaken, to love without fear, to stand without compromise. It is the reward of endurance, not perfection. You are stepping forward now, not loudly, not dramatically, but fully. You are no longer divided between who you were and who you are becoming. Integration has happened. Faith and action have aligned. Belief and obedience now move together. If this message has walked with you through this journey, support it in a quiet, meaningful way. Like the video if it strengthened you. Share it with someone who needs confirmation that endurance is worth it. Subscribe to remain connected, not out of obligation, but out of shared growth. This space exists for those who are willing to walk deeply, not quickly. Now breathe. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are crowned. What comes next will require courage, but you are ready. What comes next will demand wisdom, but you have gained it. What comes next will stretch you, but it will not break you because you are no longer carrying it alone. You were chosen for this moment, and now you walk forward as one who knows it. You do not need to rush away from this moment. Let it stay open. Some messages are meant to end with certainty. This one is meant to end with space. Space for you to sit with what stirred inside you. Space to notice what feels affirmed, what feels challenged, what feels quietly resolved. An open ending honors the fact that your journey is still unfolding, and that is not a weakness. It is a sign of life. You have not been handed conclusions. You have been handed clarity. What you do with it does not need to be immediate. Growth does not demand urgency. Often, the deepest shifts happen slowly, almost invisibly, after the noise fades, after the screen goes dark, after you return to your ordinary life carrying something slightly different within you. Pay attention to what lingers. If a sentence keeps echoing, it may be instruction. If a feeling keeps returning, it may be confirmation. If a discomfort remains, it may be an invitation to change. There is no pressure here to prove anything. No requirement to announce decisions, no demand to perform spirituality. What matters is what happens when you are alone with your thoughts, your choices, your quiet moments of honesty. You are allowed to move forward gently. You are allowed to take what resonated and leave what did not. Truth does not force itself, it waits to be recognized. And when it is real, it continues to work long after words stop. If at some point you feel that this message helped you, strengthened you, or gave language to something you were already sensing, you are welcome only if you want to express that. A like, a share, a quiet passing along to someone who might need it. Not as an obligation, as simply as a natural response. And if you choose to do nothing at all, that is also enough. The work has already begun where it matters most inside. Stay attentive to your inner alignment. Stay honest with yourself. Stay open to growth that does not announce itself loudly. Your path does not need witnesses to be valid. This ending is open because your story is still being written, and you are still becoming